All right, today we are diving deep into a concept that's as ancient as it is, well, misunderstood, and that is Dharma. What is it, really? And why does it seem to be at the center of so much conflict? Let's get into it. So, it all starts with a question from a disciple to his guru, and it's a question, honestly, that I think many of us have asked. He looks at the world and says, why is there so much war, so much fighting in the name of religion? Is the path of Dharma really supposed to be this confusing? It's a question that just cuts right to the heart of everything. And the guru's answer? It completely flips the script. He says, wars are not fought in the name of Dharma. They are caused by adharma, when ego conceals truth. So, get this, the problem isn't the path itself. The problem is the human ego that gets in the way, that clouds the truth. And that is such a crucial distinction to make. Okay, so if Dharma isn't causing all this conflict, then what is it? Well, the guru explains that Dharma is actually a framework for living a good life, and it's built on 5 core principles. Or you can think of them as limbs. To make this super clear, the guru gives us this beautiful metaphor. He says to think of Dharma like a tree. It has 5 main branches, which are known as angas, and each of these branches is a core part of the whole path. So here they are, the 5 branches, and they all work together. First up, we have satya, which is truth. Then there's niyai, or justice. After that, you've got niti, which means ethics. The 4th is nishtha, which is conviction. And finally, the 5th branch is samarpan, or surrender. Let's break down what each one really means. The very foundation, the trunk of this tree is satya. Now, this isn't just about, not telling a lie. We're talking about the ultimate, unchanging, capital T truth, the very essence of the divine. It's the foundational reality that everything else is built on. And this search for ultimate truth, it's guided by some of the most profound philosophical texts you can find, like the Vedanta, the Upanishads, and the Brahma Sutra. All of these are dedicated to helping a person perceive what is truly eternal and real. So, building right on top of that foundation of truth is the second limb, nyaya, or justice. This is where that abstract ultimate truth becomes real, practical action. Nyaya is about making judgments that are based on satya. It's the bridge that connects ultimate reality with how we act fairly in the world. So, where do you learn how to do that? Well, the guiding text for justice are things like the Itihas, the great histories, the Purans with all their ancient lore, and the Smriti Shastras, which are basically detailed codes of conduct. Think of them as historical and moral case studies. Following justice, we get to Niti, which is all about ethics. So if Nyaya is about making the right call in big situations, Niti is about living a righteous life moment to moment. It's the code of conduct for your everyday, how you walk, how you talk, how you treat people. And you can find tons of practical wisdom for this in texts called the Niti Shastras, like the famous Vidura Niti and Bhishma Niti. They're just packed with guidance on ethical behavior and living wisely. Okay, so we have truth, justice, and ethics. But what powers all of that? What keeps you going? That's the 4th limb, nishtha. This is unwavering conviction, a rock-solid faith in the truth. It's the engine, the fuel in the tank, the focused mind that keeps you on the path, especially when things get tough. And this kind of deep-seated conviction is often nurtured through what are called the Bhakti Shastras, or devotional scriptures. Texts like the Bhagavata or the Narada Bhakti Sutra are really designed to cultivate a strong, focused, and faithful heart. And that brings us to the final, and maybe the most important, branch of the tree, Samarpan. This means surrender. But what are you surrendering? It's the surrender and renunciation of the ego, that constant sense of I, me, and mine. And this brings us right back to where we started. The Guru says, when you let go of I did this, true Dharma is born. A truly righteous life, then, can only begin where the ego ends. And remember, the ego is the very thing the Guru said was causing all the conflict in the first place. Okay, so that's the 5-part framework. Pretty cool, right? But it naturally leads the disciple to another big question, one you might be thinking too. With so many different religions out there, Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Christianity, Islam, which one is the real Dharma? And the Guru's answer here is just brilliant. He basically says, these aren't different dharmas at all, just different interpretations of the one dharma. They're like different paths, all leading up the same mountain. Whether it's the Jain focus on nonviolence, the Buddhist quest to end suffering, the Sikh path of service, Christian love, or Islamic justice, they are all just different expressions of that same fundamental search for truth. So now we get the framework and we see how it all connects. But what does this mean for you and me right here, right now? Well, this leads to the most critical part of the whole lesson. What is the very first step in actually living this way? And the guru makes it clear that out of everything they've talked about, all the philosophy, all the scriptures, the single most important step you can take on the path of Dharma is to apply it to yourself. That's it. Dharma isn't a weapon to judge other people with. It's not a system to force on the world. It is, first and foremost, an internal practice. The work always begins inside. And that leads directly to his most powerful warning. Never force it on others. The moment you try to use Dharma against someone else, it's not Dharma anymore. That's just your ego talking, the very thing you were supposed to surrender. So this whole amazing conversation has been building to this. After understanding the framework, after understanding that it starts with you, the disciple is finally ready to ask the ultimate question, to push right to the edge of what can be known. He asks, okay, Guru, so what is the ultimate truth? What is the actual form of the divine? I mean, that's the question at the core of every single one of those paths we just looked at. What is it that we are all looking for? And the Guru's final answer is this beautiful, poetic mystery. He says, truth is that which does not change, even when it changes, described not by words, but by experience. Now, how can something be both changing and unchanging at the same time? Well, the answer, it seems, isn't found in words, but in a direct journey of experience. And that is exactly what we are going to explore in our next explainer.